What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, recently, just after the Portland Trail Blazers game, Billy Donovan suggested that consistency is hard to come by with the Chicago Bulls team due to the amount of injuries that we have sustained. Now, at the end of the day, that's a bold claim to make, and for some people will view that as, you know, a very fair assessment. But is it as fair as we like to make it out to be? Are the Chicago Bulls really that inconsistent because of all the injuries we've sustained? Well, I want to give my opinion on this piece in this video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Bulls and the injuries and whether or not you believe that has led to the Bulls becoming an inconsistent team over the past couple of weeks, the past couple of months, the past couple of seasons. Now, we must first and mostly start off with the injuries that the Bulls have sustained over the course of this 3-year period. Now, keep in mind, of course, some of them are small injuries, so we have to just cancel those out. You know, for example, Caruso could be out for 2 weeks here or there. You know, Patrick Williams had a couple of injuries here or there, or maybe it's DeRozan with a quad injury was out for a little bit of time. Whatever the case may be, those are small injuries. Those are really insignificant injuries in all fairness. But there's 3 big injuries right now that has potentially led to the Bulls' inconsistencies. Lonzo Ball has been out for 2.5 years. Someone that I think we all would love to see return, but no secret, since he has gotten injured, the Bulls' consistency pummeled straight down to the floor. Zach LaVine, you know, one of our better players, 20 plus points per game on a max contract. People really liked Zach LaVine until he wanted to get traded, and ever since then, things haven't really gone our way. Patrick Williams, you know, as much as we don't necessarily like how passive he is, he's a guy that could be a very good defender, a 3-and-D guy, and could be valuable to any winning team in any single environment, even if he's not necessarily that superstar level that we want him to be. So those are big injuries for the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, the hip injury for Kobe White has definitely helped in the inconsistency in recent times. But I have a couple of things I need to say about these injuries and why I can see where he's coming from, but I don't necessarily agree with what he just said in essentially saying that the reason why we're inconsistent is the injuries. Now, let me tell you why I can understand where he's coming from. Since the Kobe White injury, I think it's fair to say we have not been a consistent team. The Portland Trail Blazers game is literally an example of this, where we did stumble and have one of the worst fourth quarter performances in a long time that I've seen from this Bulls team, and that was pretty disgusting, and it almost led to a loss. And we haven't had great, amazing performances without Kobe White in the team. And I think it's very clear that this Bulls team is inconsistent this season and was inconsistent last season. But the problem I have with that statement as well is something I've said for a while. We are consistently inconsistent. And that has gone with everybody on this team. It was the same thing with Zach LaVine in the team. It was the same thing with Patrick Williams in the team. It was the same thing with Torrey Craig in the team. Just remember, Torrey Craig had a big injury as well. It's always been the same thing with this Bulls team. We are consistently inconsistent. And that hasn't changed, unfortunately. Injuries or no injuries, we have seen for the vast majority when players have been here and when players have not been here, we are massively inconsistent. I give credit to the Bulls for having a winning streak, even if it's a small one, in this stretch without Kobe White, because that's basically 4 of our starters out for the Chicago Bulls at that time. You know, with LaVine, Williams, Lonzo, and Kobe White. Those are 4 starters. 4 starting quality players all out for the Chicago Bulls. And yes, I could definitely see how that leads to inconsistency, but when all those players, maybe except for Lonzo, but let's be honest, the couple of games before Lonzo got hurt, we were getting blown out of the water in those games. So you have to take that into consideration as well. But there's not enough sample size to really say we are inconsistent with Lonzo Ball in the team. Again, it's just a 2-game losing streak. You just don't know. But over the course of the last 2 years, with Zach LaVine in the lineup, and Patrick Williams, and Kobe White, and Torrey Craig, and the other guys that were injured last season and this season, guys like Andre Drummond, Derrick Jones, Javonte Green, this season with Torrey Craig, or Javon Carter, whoever it may be, the inconsistency still remains with this team. And I don't necessarily have the key reasons why that is the case, but I do not think injuries is the reason. I think it plays a part right now, because there's just a large amount of them, but I still believe with those guys in the team, we are still going to be an inconsistent team. I mean, let's not forget the beginning of the season, why don't we? At the beginning of the season, guess who we had? Zach LaVine. He was there. He may have not been fully committed to the team, but he was there and he was playing, and we were still inconsistent. We had Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams was there at the beginning of the season. He was playing. He was doing his thing. He had good games and bad games. He was passive and aggressive in some areas. Still inconsistent. Torrey Craig was there. There was elements of his game at the beginning of the season where Torrey Craig was dropping 16 points and a half. He was unbelievable for the Chicago Bulls. But that still led to inconsistency. It's not like we had the best start to the season you could ever ask for. In fact, the start of the season was actually our worst period for the Chicago Bulls. And that was with most of our players healthy, except for Lonzo Ball. So I don't like making the excuse of injuries. I understand everybody's going to go to injuries in one way, form, or fashion. If you win an NBA championship or you end up being last in your standings, injuries are going to play a factor. You know, sometimes the playoffs really is whoever's the healthiest will win. And sometimes it's the same with the Bulls. If you're healthy, you can win. But at the end of the day, it's not the only reason, and we shouldn't justify that as the only reason. The injuries may play a factor, but I think the bigger factor here is how inconsistent we actually play on the court. How one quarter we look amazing and one quarter we disappoint. How one quarter we can move the ball like it's no tomorrow, and then the other quarter we ball hog like it's no tomorrow. How in one quarter you can see the best defensive displays this Bulls team has ever produced, and then in another quarter everybody's getting wide open threes. One quarter you play through Nikola Vucevic, and another quarter you don't see Nikola Vucevic for the entire quarter. These are the things that I'm more worried about. That's not an injury issue. That's an inconsistency in the team issue. The coaching staff issues. The training issues. I'm not an expert. I don't watch these Bulls teams' training sessions ins and outs. I don't get to speak with these Bulls players and ask them, why do you think we're so inconsistent? Why do you think we have just about a 500 record? Why do you think that why do you still believe that we can win a championship or anything like that? I don't have the answers. I don't have the questions. I can't speak to these players and give you answers why this Bulls team is inconsistent. But one thing I'm not going to blame is the injuries. I think there's too much. There's too much more for the Bulls that we got to worry about than dealing with injuries. People call our injury situation a curse, and maybe there's a case to have that argument, especially in the point guard situation. But I don't necessarily believe in curses. I believe that if you find a way to be consistent, you will consistently find your answer. It's as simple as that. If you want to be a consistently good team, then you need to work every single day consistently to make it happen. You shouldn't have games where you're lackluster, or where you disappoint, or where you enter another clutch game that you shouldn't have, or where you shouldn't blow a lead. You know how often that's happened this season? A good team doesn't do that very often. It's as simple as that. Go look at Boston. You think Boston's giving up 20-point leads every single game? No, they're not. And that's why they are where they are. You have to set the example by looking at these teams and seeing where you can improve and how consistent they have been. It's why I've highly respected the Cavs this season. It's why I respect Boston. It's why I look at the West and I find it so hard to pick a winner out of the West, because everybody's so consistent that it's not, it kind of is what it is. And by no means am I saying this Bulls team is bad. Don't get me wrong. I think this team is average. We have the clutchest games in the league because we're an average team that can compete with the worst and compete with the best. That's what we are. And that's not a bad thing. But at the end of the day, that is, injuries is not the reason from that. It's our play. It always has been our play. It may always be our play. So unless we change the structure of the team and find a new identity in how we play, I kind of see what's happening with the Bulls continue to happen for future years to come. That's just my prediction and my guess. I'd like to be proven wrong. I hope the Bulls team can show out for the rest of the season. I hope they can have a great play-in tournament. I hope they can walk out and compete with the Boston Celtics or whoever we face in the playoffs. I hope they make it a competitive series. I hope they can prove me wrong from that standpoint. But the way that I see it now, there's not much to be proven wrong. It looks like history's already there for us to see. And that history is we're inconsistent because of how we play, not because of the players that are there. I guess we'll just have to wait and see if I'm proven right or wrong by that. Maybe there is an element of I'm not discrediting injuries as the reason, but it's definitely not the sole reason, and it's definitely not the main reason. And I don't want people to just say, "Oh, look, because we have this guy out, we can't win a game." It's not been like that. It's not been like that for a while. So yeah, it is what it is. Thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. See you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.